Yeah, you've had 24 hours or so to digest this whole Keegan Murray thing. Just where you guys at as a team?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough. I mean, I didn't expect it, me personally, just because seeing like how he was acting after the game and all that. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely tough losing one of our top players early on for a good little second. So I mean, it's tough, but I mean, in this game, you kind of can't dwell on it too much. Other teams don't really care. So it's kind of like a next man up thing. So yeah, just someone has to come step in and be ready.
Do you anticipate kind of a lot of adjustments in this period over the next few days and really next week before the season gets going?
As far as from the injury, yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, because I think we just have to figure out who we're going to go with and, how things are going to look on both sides of the ball and, figure out how we're going to operate with whoever it is. So, yeah, I mean, we'll for sure pretty much try to figure it out through the rest of this preseason and, the rest of the time we have before the first game.
The fact that you guys have 2 weeks to figure it out, is that maybe like a blessing in disguise a little bit since these games technically don't count and you have time to kind of work it out on the floor?
I mean, yeah, for sure, because you still got, you get some live game reps of seeing how things work out. So, yeah, I mean, the timing does help a little bit, but, I mean, obviously still, Keegan is Keegan. So, but, yeah, we'll try to do our best and, keep rolling.
How well do you feel you guys are built to sustain something like a loss like that?
I mean, we have a good team, a lot of vets. So, I mean, I think we'll just have to no one person is going to come in and, obviously not produce, but, give what Keegan gives to the team. So, I mean, I think it's just a collective effort from everyone to step up and do their part.
On the defensive end, I know he and you are two of the stalwarts for this team. Just how much does that hurt to lose one of those guys that is known for defense?
I mean, it's big. I mean, especially with him being a guy that he's already at the 4 for us. So guarding other teams 4, and then he's guarding guards at times. So he's really versatile. And then losing that, I mean, that's definitely tough because I mean we look for him to answer a lot of those calls. So without that, it'll be a little bit tough. But I think that's where you just rely on team defense again. So
2 games into this preseason, I mean, what is your assessment of this team and pretty much where this group stands right now?
Well, I think we're still ironing some things out in preseason. I think we haven't got obviously a full game of what it'll look like as starters and rotations and everything have been kind of whatever. So, but I mean I think we're seeing improvements and seeing what we're needing to see game to game. And I think with Game 3 coming up, we'll see how we improve on the things that we watch film on, and what we want to get better at. So I think these games we've shown the improvement that we needed to see in ourselves. And I mean it's still preseason, so you're really just trying to see like what things you need to work on and whatnot. So it's not really, oh man, we lost this game, it's that and that. It's just what can we improve on and what we're doing good at.
Can you detail what are the things you're working on right now?
Say that one more time.
Can you detail some of the things you are working on you guys went over in practice?
I think still like one of the big things that I seen ball coming, watch out, was on the defensive end, just over helping sometimes, like kind of just reading when you need to and when you don't need to. The offensive rebounding that we've the other team success that they've had going against us, try to clean up on some of that. That's 2 that I can think of off the top of my head right now. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's been like a big thing in the past as well. So still trying to get at that and limit other teams, success at that. But I think we did good at that last game. But I mean, with today's NBA, teams are shooting a lot. So there'll be nights where shots are falling and just got to stay at it.
Keon, now that you're going to be without Keegan for at least 4 to 6 weeks, have you noticed any different defensive wrinkles or adjustments in the defense the last 2 days?
Nah. We didn't really change anything up. Everything's still been pretty much the same, exactly the same actually. But I mean, yeah. But just losing him, though, I think just have to step our defense up, as a collective.
Picking up 94 feet and learning to do that, I'm sure something you're familiar with as well. But what's that balance like of making sure you're pressuring the ball, but also obviously you're picking up further, you don't want to get blown by that part?
I think you just have to know personnel and know who you're guarding and what your advantages are. So just kind of read it. Don't want to press up on a guy who's really fast, and don't want to sit back too far on a guy who isn't really a point guard. So yeah, just kind of try to read it. See where you can be disruptive at.
Keon, obviously last year the team celebrated its 40th season in Sacramento, and the actual 40th anniversary of the first Kings game in Sacramento is coming up in a couple of weeks. What does it mean to you, this team having been here for 40 years?
That is a mark. I haven't thought about it at all, honestly. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that's really big for the city. I mean, everything that they've gone through. I mean, I've heard that they tried to relocate the team and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that the city takes pride in that. So I think. And what game is the 40th game? Is it
October 25th? I want to say.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure the crowd will show up and it'll be a good one for that game. So yeah, excited for that.
Right on. How tall of a task is this to start the season without Keon?
It definitely sucks. He's a big part of our team, offensively and on the defensive end. And yeah, these next couple of days of training camp, we're just going to try and see what's the best way to go about it for the starting lineup.
What do you anticipate?
I have no idea. We're trying out a lot of things, and we're going to see what's going to work best over the next couple of days.
What does it mean for you personally? Because there's a chance you're going to go play some power forward yourself.
We haven't talked about that yet, so I don't know, but I'll be ready for whatever the coach needs.
Is it a blessing, though, that it happened now when you guys have 2 weeks before the season starts, or is it just you don't want this at all?
It's never a blessing. You never want one of your teammates to get hurt, especially Keegan. Yeah, we just hope he gets a speedy recovery, and he comes back with confidence.
What are you guys working on heading into Wednesday's game?
Everything, basically everything we've been working on training camp. We're not happy with our play these last two preseason games, so we're just trying to sharpen things up and get some clarity.
Domas, you've had a UCL injury in that thumb. Just how difficult is it to deal with it on a daily basis? And you never had surgery after the season, right?
No. It just depends on the guy, Depends. Obviously, he did it before season even started, so I was halfway through the season and we couldn't afford, losing some time. So, happy he's getting it. He'll be back here quicker than everyone expects, and everyone will forget about it.
How does it affect you playing, since you played?
Anything, everyone thinks it's just catching the ball, but it's on defense, boxing out, touching someone, putting on your socks, brushing your teeth. That's everything.
What's you talked about things you're working on? Is the first two? I know it's still preseason, but is there anything you really like, anything you really don't like in these two games so far?
We're just trying to clean up all the gray areas, on offense, we want to play with some structure, but also with freedom. So just trying to find the middle ground. Same thing on defense.
When you look at the Clippers and all the pieces that they've added, how do you feel they'll kind of shape up for the West?
They're a very talented team. Got a lot of big names, players who have done things in the league. We're excited to play against them. They're a different team than the last two teams we played against. So we're excited to try and use some of the stuff we've put in preseason.
Domas, Doug wants you guys to play physical. Has it been tough to get a gauge of the level of physicality the refs are going to allow through two preseason games?
I guess so. I don't know. Last game we had 100 free throws in the first quarter, so we couldn't really tell, what we're allowed and what we're not yet. We got a couple more games to kind of figure that out.
With picking up 94 feet, how do you feel like you guys have done with that, and what's it like learning for you? And
I think it depends. Certain players can do it, certain can, and depending on personnel. So certain players you feel like you have an advantage, but the ones that you don't, we shouldn't do it and play to our strengths.
Are you hoping being the back line of all that with them pressing?
You guys saw against Portland, we pressed up, or what was the first game, Toronto, they just blew right by us or set a pick, and then we're 4 against 5 all game. So that's where we got to pick and choose when to do it.
The 40th anniversary of the first Kings game in Sacramento is coming up on October 25th. What does it mean to you this team having been here for 40 years?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool for the city. I'm happy we're still here, and we just got to go out there and get a win for them.
Did you ever go to a game at Arco when you were a kid with your dad playing for the Blazers?
No, never been, yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Day 2 of making adjustments without Keegan. Just what's it been like? What are you trying out? What's working? What's not?
We're working. C2 bigs. We're working everything. Trying to figure out different scenarios, and we got to put them out there in situations where there's execution, but there's also full court. Today was more of an execution day, just trying to see what works, the gravity of certain players. They're stretching the floor by three-point shooters, and they're stretching the floor vertically. So there are a lot of different looks.
We saw you talking to Dario Saric out here for a little bit. Just how surprised are you to have him in camp and sort of the player that he is after not really being able to see much of him last year?
Dario is he uses his mind when he plays, and I love that he has a knowledge of the game, understands on the defensive end, more of your team defender, being in the right spots, using his voice and talking. But his ability to make shots, I mean, that's big because it gives space to all of our guys to be able to get downhill, and then that gravity and all of that just creates three-pointers. He understands how to play next game. Once he catches it, he's looking to shoot. He's on to the dribble, hand off, pitching, like all those different things. That's high-level stuff. So it's a pleasure to be able to coach him for sure.
Figuring out that starting group, do you hope to have consistency with who's out there, or do you think it could be situational based on matchup?
Definitely. I think it's going to be, maybe matchup based and different things that we got to think. But more than anything, it's not really about who starts, it's about who finishes. So understanding that from night to night, there might be matchups that are beneficial to us, and we're going to look at all of them.
I don't imagine it's like going back to square one, but does this feel a little bit like a reset when you have to kind of make an adjustment like this?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel that way, but I mean, it is what it is. You gotta deal with it. Keegan is a really incredible talent that we value very highly, and unfortunate what happened. So, but as it goes, we have to figure out a way to make it work, and that's what we're doing every day.
With the roster construction, do you lean into small ball at all?
It's a possibility. I think, again, to the previous question, I think that's one that we look at and say, what are the matchups tonight? And if they are in that small ball arena, or we feel like we can get away with it, we test it out. And some of that is, listen, you're going to test it out, and small ball works if small ball is working. And two bigs works if two bigs is working. So it's gonna be we're gonna have to try certain things and see what's working on a given night, and then adjust accordingly.
When you look at the first couple of preseason games, your assessment of this team, where do you feel the biggest areas for improvement are?
Well, for me, it's always going to be defense. I think, we can look at the offensive end, but I think, shot profile and different things can affect your defense, your transition defense. There's a smoothness to what we want to do when we talk about our offensive pillars of pace, space, and sharing the basketball. We want to move the ball up the floor, whether it's with the dribble or with the pass. And then once we get into that, we got to get into the next actions and make the game move for us. Move the ball and move bodies. And so it's not so much about like how individuals are playing or a group. It's right now we're creating an identity. And identity is who it's going to be regardless who comes in here. Now you do have to play to your talent and what you got out there, but there are certain parts of the game that we are not going to bulge on, and it has to be what it has to be.
Coach, you deal with injuries as a player, but just as a coach, one of the first times that you've got one of those calls where it's going to be a while for a player, just how difficult was that, and what was your thought process?
I threw up in my mouth a little bit. No, I just went, damn. I love Keeg, so I was sad for him. But you're right. When those calls come, it's not a good time, because you're just like, damn. Okay, now you have to start thinking of all these different things that when you woke up in the morning you were not thinking about. But unfortunate, man. But everything happens. It's already written. Everything happens how it happens.
Are these scenarios that you picture in the back of your mind as days camp goes by, like the what ifs, rather than what's in front of you, like to be able to prepare yourself for something like this?
A lot of people talk about prepared and being ready and all those things. It's, you don't know until you get in there, like Mike Tyson, until you get hit in the nose and the mouth, you just don't know what it is. So we can be prepared as we want to be, and then when it happens, there are aspects that you didn't prepare for in the thing that you did prepare for. So we just try to be as prepared as a staff, prepare our team as well as possible. That's why fundamentals are so vitally important. If you have fundamentals and you are doing certain things at a really high level, whatever comes in your way, you're capable and able to deal with it.
Coach, Domas mentioned reaching a little bit too much while picking up 94 feet. I'm wondering, after watching the film of 2 preseason games, if there's any new points of emphasis that you're seeing in practice.
There's a part of defense that we have to make sure that we are doing. When it comes to 94 feet, we may have 2 teams within 1 team. It may be a little bit more of the second unit that we see when we're on free throws and dead balls and different things like that. That may be the opportunity for that group to make sure that they're doing it, so it's not where they're killing themselves, but at the same time, we're getting what we need to get. People need to feel us. We need to be physical. We need to pick up 94 feet. But every single time and being opportunistic and smart with it's no different than being smart with the pick and roll and being smart in different aspects of the game. That's one that we have to listen to our players and know what is humanly possible out there. And it's their willingness and ableness to do what we're asking them to do. And they've shown it. Now we have to make sure that we're being smart while we're doing it.
Doug, one of your former teammates, Scott Pollard, is in town this week. Just curious what you make of everything that he's had to go through and how he's sort of dealt with it.
Scott is courageous in what he's had to deal with, but didn't know he was in town. Fantastic to hear that. I know some of the things that he's experienced and super excited and proud of him for what he's been able to do through that. Life is super, super precious, man, and send him messages, let him know that love him. But yeah, it's tough, man. When we go through, as we begin to age and we begin to see our brothers in different ways, and unfortunate, and it's not only them, it's family members and different things like that. So super excited to hear that he's in town, though, for sure.
And I think in the past you've talked about the second, when you were on his team, you going up against the second unit in practice and the second unit making you guys better. Was he part of that? Is there something in his personality that helped you guys?
Between him and Bobby, Mateen Cleaves, it was a lot of them that unfortunately just, on those days when, as a starter, we're playing 40 minutes or whatever, and you might not really feel like giving it up today. And then all of a sudden the chirping starts and you lose a couple games in a row, and all of a sudden, and then it gets serious. So he was very good at that. He set really good, hard screens that I didn't always like because I was seeing him in the game, but by him doing that also helped me to realize, like, I need to be on point, and this is my time to learn how to deal with that. The same thing with guarding Bobby and all that came with that. Like I say, iron sharpens iron, and it does. Like, without them, we're not as good a team as we were, because not only did they help us in practice, but in the games, there was times where we didn't necessarily have it to start the game, and they came in and changed the whole complexion of the game. Your whole team is what it's about, and that's what we're trying to build here. Very similar to what we had, where you have kind of 2 teams in one. You have your starters, and they go about their business, and then you have a group that comes in off the bench that is fierce and fearless, and they know that they aren't playing the same maybe minutes, so they give it up in a way that not only that we as teammates appreciate, but our fans begin to appreciate. That's how you get the name Bench Mob and all those different things. So a lot of love to those guys, because without them we weren't who we were.
Coach, the 40th anniversary of the Kings' first game in Sacramento is coming up on October 25th. I know you spent a lot of your professional life with the Kings in one capacity or another. What does it mean to you, the team making 40 years here?
It's big time, because there was a time when the Kings were thinking about leaving. So, and there was a lot of community support and fight that is very reminiscent of who we want our team to be, is who our community is. So it's big time, man. 40 years of anything is huge, and I'm just proud to be a part of the Sacramento Kings as we go on the journey of taking that next step towards where I know we can be.
Thanks,
Appreciate y'all.